So let go of the idea that artists and creatives are born, not made. Skill can be learned. Seeing people doing what I wanted to do made me believe that it was possible, because it was like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it too. I decided to put myself in motion anyway. I took small steps, one at a time. And fast forward to today, I built a life and also a business around my skill set and also doing work that I really love. When I first started, I thought creativity was just about letting ideas flow and letting your creativity flow. But that mindset led to frustration, because I would let my creativity flow, and at the end, I wasn't happy with the result. So once I took a structured letter design course, everything changed. Not only did I improve faster, but I also gained confidence because I understood the craft at a deeper level. Welcome to Open Studio Podcast, space for lettering artists, illustrators, and creatives who are determined to thrive in their passion. I'm Martina Flor, and I've been through the ups and downs of building a successful creative business. From struggling to make ends meet to achieving my dream of becoming an award-winning lettering designer, I've learned valuable lessons along the way. Now, I'm here to share those lessons, strategies, and tips so that your journey can be smoother. Whether you're looking to turn your passion into a career or want insights to boost your creative business, this podcast is your guide. Join me on the Open Studio Podcast, and let's make your creative dreams a reality. Hello and welcome back to Open Studio. I'm your host, Martina Flor, and today I'm diving into something really close to my heart, which is advice I would give my beginner self. And I am hoping that the advice that I would give my beginner self is going to help you as well in your journey as a creative. So whether you're just starting your journey as a lettering artist, graphic designer, or a creative professional, or maybe you're feeling stuck in a job that drains your creativity, this episode is from my heart for you. So as you know, this is part of a special series where I'm answering your most asked questions about lettering, creativity, and building a career around your creative skill. And besides recording these episodes that will be dropping in the next couple of weeks, I also have put together a free guide where I answer these same questions that I will be touching on in these episodes. It's called Lettering Success Secrets. It's packed with all these answers to the most common questions about lettering and building a business and a career in lettering design. And you can grab it for free at martinaflor.com/guide. In this guide, I also include stories of my own journey, but also stories of some of the lettering artists and creatives that I have worked with throughout the years. All right, let's get into today's episode. So before we dive into the advice, I want to take you back to the early days of my career. So as you may know, I'm trained as a graphic designer. I was a working graphic designer and I became a creative director pretty early in my career. But honestly, I was miserable. I had a good salary. I had a team that worked with me, but the work was really uninspiring. And the idea of making a living with my creativity felt really far away. I felt that my days were filled with emailing and meetings and very far from what I had imagined for my career, which is creating every day, doing something creative every day. And at that time, I was already getting into lettering, and building a career around lettering felt like a very far away dream. I really didn't believe in myself. I had so many doubts and insecurities, and I thought, how could I possibly make this work? Even at that time, people didn't even know what lettering was. I didn't even really know what lettering was. But here's the thing. I decided to put myself in motion anyway. I took small steps, one at a time. And fast forward to today, I built a life and also a business around my skill set and also doing work that I really love. And that's why I'm sharing this with you, because I know that many creatives are where I was back then. And if you're in that space of feeling stuck and doubting yourself or wondering if a creative career is even possible for you, I want to tell you that I've been there, and these are the lessons that I wish someone had told me when I was just starting out. So I hope this episode is gonna fire you up and inspire you to really believe in how much you can achieve with your creative skills. So the lesson number 1 that I learned is prioritize your goals first thing in the day. So one of the first things that I will tell my beginner self is put your goals first, literally. Don't wait until the end of the day when you're exhausted from everything else. Make time for your creative work before the day gets busy. And this is something that I use until the date. So whenever I want to tackle an important project in my life, like for instance, writing a book, I put that first in my day and the things get done. So before getting busy with emails and communication with my team and all the projects that I'm working on, I put that first before I do anything else, before going into social media and stuff. So when I was working full-time, I would leave my creative projects for the evening, thinking that I would have time. So I would just put myself the goal, okay, when I come back from work, I will sit to create or I will sit to improve my skills. But life always got in the way. So I had late meetings or something happened in traffic or I was too tired. And the game changer for me was flipping that script, flipping the way I organize my day. So I started waking up earlier and dedicating the first part of my day to my lettering practice or my lettering making. And even 15 minutes made a big difference. Even when I had just 15 minutes to do the work some days, I felt like I had accomplished something and that gave me a lot of momentum. So lesson number 2, learn the basics and practice or create regularly. So here's the truth. Every craft has its fundamentals. You can skip them. It's just, there's no way around it. So for lettering, that means understanding the structure of letter forms, their historical roots and how they communicate or how they work in the process of communication. So when I first started, I thought creativity was just about letting ideas flow and letting your creativity flow. But that mindset led to frustration because I would let my creativity flow. And at the end, I wasn't happy with the result. I felt that I couldn't move forward. So once I took a structured letter design course, everything changed. Not only did I improve faster, but I also gained confidence because I understood the craft at a deeper level. So remember that you cannot skip the fundamentals. Everything has fundamentals, sports, law, everything has its fundamentals. And once you learn them, you can start playing the game. Lesson number 3. Yes, you can make money doing what you love. So I used to think that making money with art meant having a huge client list. And I was wrong. You can start small and still build a sustainable income. In episode number 168, I dive into all of the ways you can monetize, or 10 of the ways in which you can monetize your skills as a graphic artist, as a lettering artist. We dive into selling prints, licensing your work, collaborations, client work. Your creative skill can be really valuable for companies, brands, and it can become a thriving business. And we are in a special moment in history where we have access to a lot of things that we didn't have access before. Nowadays, you can promote your work for free. You can use social media to build an audience, to build a client base, and you can inspire audiences with your work and have your work sold online. So nowadays, there's a myriad of ways of doing money with your work, but also we are in a moment like no other in terms of having access to tools that before were in the hands of a few. Lesson number 4, you don't need to be a natural born artist. So let go of the idea that artists and creatives are born, not made. Skill can be learned. And I know that I used to believe that I wasn't talented enough to pursue lettering, but guess what? Lettering has rules, and anyone willing to put in the effort to learn them can master them. So if you are dedicated, you will improve. If you put yourself into it, you will understand it and get it. It's as simple as that. I have no special feature in that sense. I just invest in myself into learning the fundamentals, putting that into practice and creating work often, and I stick to it. And if you put yourself into it, if you stick to it, then you can also learn a skill. Lesson number 5, embrace constructive feedback. I know feedback can be tough, but is one of the fastest ways to grow. Early in my journey, I kept my work to myself because I was afraid of criticism. So I would keep a drawer with all of my sketches, all of my work. I would never show it to anybody. But when I finally started sharing my work and accepting feedback, my skills really skyrocketed. I remember that at that time, I opened a Flickr account that was my first social media account, where I was sharing the work that I was creating. And having feedback from others, having that like on your work, or that feedback of like, hey, that looks really cool, that really fired me up. That really kept me going for the next one. So I want to recommend you to join communities, to share your projects, and also to listen what others have to say about your work. It is very uncomfortable at first, but it is really valuable, and it's really the thing that will make a difference in your work. If there's one thing I want you to take away, is that there's no progress in isolation. And I know that we love, as creatives, we love being in that safe space, in our bubble of creation, and just sitting down to work and just create for hours. But the moment you start showing your work, the moment you start getting feedback, this is the moment where you start realizing the things that you're doing right, the things that you can improve, and this is how you grow. Which leads to lesson number 6, which is you can't grow in isolation. So you need to find your people. Progress doesn't happen in a vacuum. You need community. When I moved to Germany, as you know, I'm originally from Argentina, and I moved to Germany in 2010, and I wanted to launch my career as a lettering artist. And when I moved here to Berlin, I didn't know anybody in the creative industry. But one thing that I did at that time is that I started attending monthly meetups for typography enthusiasts. And that really changed everything. Seeing people doing what I wanted to do made me believe that it was possible, because it was like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it too. And that really kept me accountable and inspired. And what is great about this moment in history is that you have a lot of online communities that you can join. There's also a lot of in-person meetups if that's what you prefer. But you need to find a group that supports your creative journey. I'm sure that among the group of friends and family that you have right now, I'm sure that you are the weirdo, the person who is pursuing something that no one really understands exactly what it is. And when you find your people, you realize that you're not alone, and that you're not a weirdo, that you're pursuing something that is really meaningful, and that you can actually turn it into a career, and it's worthwhile to do that. So find your people, and you will see how your journey really accelerates. Lesson number 7. Build your confidence, and in order to do that, celebrate the small wins. So finally, I want to say that confidence really matters. It's the one thing that I've noticed throughout all of the dozens of artists that I have interviewed on this podcast, that they are all confident about their work, that they all know that they are good at what they're doing. It is easy to focus on what you haven't achieved, especially when you're starting, on all the things that you're missing, on how far you are from that goal. But celebrating small milestones can really help you stay motivated. So every finished project, every new skill learned, that's progress. And every new piece of work that you can include in your portfolio, that's progress. And this is why it's so great to have a portfolio, because you can see how that portfolio starts to grow. When you recognize your growth, you will build the confidence to tackle bigger projects and to take bolder steps in your creative career. And I know the critic in us is hard to beat, but you need to start celebrating your small wins so that you can start building up that confidence. So there you have it, 7 pieces of advice I wish I would have known when I was starting out. And if you're at the beginning of your creative journey, I hope these insights help you take the next step. And don't forget that I have put together a free guide that is called Lettering Success Secrets, that dives even deeper into these strategies, these pieces of advice, and also answers some of the most frequently asked questions about lettering and how it looks like to build a career in lettering design. You can go and download it for free on martinaflor.com/guide. I'm going to add this to the show notes as well. So thank you for tuning in to Open Studio. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone else. Share it with a fellow creative or with a fellow artist who might need that extra push. And I will see you on the next episode of Open Studio. Bye-bye.
So this is it. I hope you loved this episode. You can find me, the host of the show, on social networks at Martina Flor on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you have a question or comments, go to martinaflor.com/podcast, where you can see previous episodes, find show notes, and send voice memos with your comments and questions. You can also watch these episodes on YouTube. Just go to martinaflor.com/YouTube to find them. You can, of course, listen to all our episodes on your favorite podcast platform. If you loved this episode, subscribe to this podcast. And if you leave us a review, it will help others find us. Thank you all for listening, and see you in the next episode of Martina Flor's Open Studio. Bye-bye.